Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Code Duke Nukem, where we aim to recreate the original EGA action platformer released in 1991. Last episode we added various missing elements to complete level 2. So today the last element will be added, the floating techbots. These enemies, floating up in the air, shooting back at Duke, can be killed with a single shot either by your nuclear bolts or by a stomp to the head, like Super Mario does to the Goombas. And when they're destroyed, they crash down to the ground in a flurry of smoke puffs and particles. Alright, let's go. We are back at the shikari.net DOS game modding wiki page for Duke Nukem. Let's go ahead to the level format and figure out the tile code for the floating robot. And yeah, here we got it, 3000B, the floating 1x1 robot with the purple antenna. So yeah, let's head over to our game code here and let's start in the level class and yeah, figure out where to add this tile code. So that's here, 3000A, B, and C, new floater, and we don't need to specify the facing because we will derive it, and then we can put it here in the enemies package. Alright, and let's first render this little guy. So this guy is actually the very first set of tiles in the anim PNG file. So here you can see the direction in which his head is facing and his little rotating fan at the bottom. I guess this is what keeps him afloat. So yeah, so 0 to 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the facing codes, and then here we just have 4 animation frames for the fan. So let's go ahead and implement that right away. So let's just have a frame counter here. And let's set it to 0. And we have some sort of a facing integer. And yeah, so let's see, renderer, draw tile, get anim. So we have the facing at X and Y. And we need to draw the rotating fan at the bottom. So that is 6 here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus the frame. So that's 6 plus frame at X and Y plus the tile size, so just below. Alright, and then let's update the frame in each update method. This guy floats, so let's have the gravity function do nothing. And let's say here frame equals frame plus 1. And let's keep it to 4. Okay, so this should in fact have these guys yeah, just floating, sitting there, waiting for us to come. So let's see, to the left there should be a few here. So there we go, they are floating up in the air. So let's make them face Duke properly. Now these guys only act when their animation is done, like this little rotate thing here. So each time this rotates fully, they perform some sort of action. So let's just say if the frame is exactly 0, then we're gonna figure out the direction in which we need to go. So that's the sign of where, if Duke is to the left, this should be -1. And then if Duke is to the right, this should be +1. So let's keep a reference of Duke here. Duke state get Duke. And then we can compare Duke's X position and then divided by the tile size to have it, you know, grid based. And then we'll subtract our own X position divided by the tile size so that we compare based on rows and columns. And then we can say that the facing should be facing plus the direction, so +1 or ±1. But we need to clamp it between 0 and 5. So let's use the math.max and min functions for that. So we want to be between 0 and we want to be at maximum 5. So this should update the facing in the proper direction. Okay, so yeah, let's see if this will make these guys turn around and try and face Duke. So here you can see if I stand to the left of this guy, he will move his head to the left, and if I stand to the right, he will move his head to the right. Okay, so that works. Now let's make these guys try to align their vertical position a bit better with Duke, because they do chase Duke around in the vertical and horizontal direction. So let's first do the vertical direction. Again, all we have to do is take the sign of their position relative to Duke. So let's set the velocity y to the sign of Duke's y position minus our own. And I think we want to make sure that these guys hit Duke in the belly. So let's offset Duke's y position with the tile size, so that these guys try to reach Duke's center point. So here you can see that they are trying to get higher, reaching Duke. So that's looking pretty good. And yeah, we need to make sure, there we go, that they don't go through walls and floors and stuff. So that's looking pretty good. Okay, and then next, of course, the horizontal direction. Now the horizontal direction should only be updated when they are not turning around. So when are they turning around? Well, whenever the angle that they're facing, or like their facing variable is not either 0 or 5. So then these other ones all consider that this guy is turning and should stay still up in the air. So let's keep a function that says if this guy is turning or not. And this guy is turning if his facing is greater than 0 and if it's less than 5. So that means if the facing is 1, 2, 3, or 4, then that means that this guy is busy turning around and shouldn't be moving in the horizontal direction. Yeah, so we can just add a new if statement here. If this guy is not turning, then let's set the velocity x in the direction, and let's multiply it by 8, which is going to be his speed. So this should make these guys chase Duke relentlessly. So here they come. And yeah, if I jump over them, they should hang still until they are done turning around, and then they should chase Duke again. So if you let them chase you long enough, they will converge onto a single point at the end and will act like a single entity. But yeah, of course, this won't be the final behavior, because once they reach Duke and touch Duke, they're gonna explode and die. But that is at least the chase behavior, so that's looking pretty good. So let's make them shoot. So I think they shoot whenever they are done turning. I think they're gonna wait for like 16 frames or 20 frames. I'm not exactly sure how many. And yeah, once that timer is out, then they will shoot. So let's keep a shot timer. Private int shot timer. And yeah, let's see. So let's say that if they are not turning and the shot timer is less than or equal to 0, then we should shoot. So that is state spawn new shot xy, and we need to figure out the facing. So our facing is going to be, oh, we also have the facing, of course, yeah. So our facing is going to be, this facing is exactly 0 left and otherwise to the right. And the x variable needs to be updated. If we are facing to the left, we need to subtract tile size from it so that the shot spawns in the correct spot. So let's see. So if this guy is turning, we'll just set the shot timer to 16. Else, if the shot timer is less than or equal to 0, then we'll actually shoot. and we'll set the shot timer back to 16 as well. And then here, every frame will just decrease the shot timer. I guess we'll do it just before actually checking the timer. So after turning, it will wait for at least a second before shooting. So here they come, and then they shoot. So I'm guessing they shoot a bit too often now. So maybe I should do, instead of 16, let's just do like 32, and then that should be fine. So let's make a private static final variable for that. It's 32. And then here, there we go. So that is a shooting. So yeah, let's shoot this guy back. That's only fair. So let's say this guy can be shot. And then let's have the hit method here. So when this guy gets hit, they die in one shot. So I think we get a spark immediately. And then what we need to do is then this guy will crash. So I think we need to have a private Boolean crashing. So he can be shot while he's not crashing, and as soon as he's hit, then we'll set crashing to true. We'll set the velocity y to, I don't know, minus tile size or something. And velocity x, we need to also decide velocity x here, because he's gonna fly in a certain direction. So again, I think we can just take the directional code here. But this time we want to fly away from Duke, so we need to flip this around. So that means that state, instead of subtracting our position from Duke's, we need to subtract Duke's position from our position, so that and then instead of velocity x, because that's get reset every frame, we'll just do like crash velocity x here. And we'll just set it once and then use it. Okay, so we have crash velocity x. All right, so now we need to have our crash code updating here. So let's see, so here we can say if we are crashing, then let's add a smoke effect to our current position. Then let's set the horizontal velocity with our crash velocity, and let's apply some gravity. And then else, if we're not crashing, then we'll just do our regular updates here. So let's see, I think we can do this here, and then if we move the frame updates into here, and then just do super update as the very last thing. Alright, so now I think once we shoot these guys, they will crash and burn. So there's one. Okay, so we need to figure out how to make them disappear after they're done crashing. And the crash velocity, and the crash velocity is a bit slow. So let's see. The crash velocity x. Yeah, we need to, of course, multiply these with the speed as well. So 8. A crash velocity of 8 pixels. Alright, so that's really, really fast. He's flying away way too far. So that is probably a bit, a bit too much. So I'm guessing let's just do 4. Okay, and yeah, then we need to make sure that as soon as it collides with something, so if it lands, for example, then we'll just set active to false. We'll also increase the score by 200 once these guys are being hit. And when we crash, we will add another effect, more sparks and particles. XY. And seeing as we have to do this in multiple spots, let's just make a private avoid crash function that takes the game state. And then say like, okay, when we land, we should crash. I don't know, maybe when it bumps into the ceiling, maybe we should just say like, oh, well, just crash at that position. And when it hits the wall, now hit wall doesn't have the game state yet, but I think we'll fix that. So let's do that right now. And yeah, so once, yeah, let's do the hit wall thing first. So let's go into the active class superclass, and let's find the move horizontally. We need a game state here, and then here we can say state get level, just like move vertically, and then here hit wall we can say here's the game state, pass it around. All right, and then here we can just say move horizontally based on the game state. Let's build the project. So now we have a couple of compile errors that we should fix. Shouldn't be too much. So here we have a game state state. So that is done. And yeah, here we have our newly added state. And this guy for the... All right, so this should fix most compile errors. Yeah, okay. So now if we kill these guys, all right, so now they just flew to their death. So we should also, of course, check if they should crash, actually. So if crashing, then it should be, I guess I should rename this to destroy. And if I just make a new crash method, that will initiate the crash sequence, so to say. So if not crashing, crash. All right. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's run the game again. All right, so now they don't die when they hit these bricks. And then when we shoot them, yeah, they fly up and just boom. All right, that's looking pretty good. And then that just leaves us with hitting these guys. If we touch them, they should also start crashing. But if you hit them from above, they should actually die without hurting Duke. So let's add that as well. So if Duke collides with this guy, then we should check the distance for the collision. So we can check like, okay, did Duke hit this guy from above? Because if the distance is less than, for example, tile size, then Duke did not hit it from above. So then we'll just hurt Duke. And regardless, if we touch this guy, we should initiate crashing. All right. So now let's run into them. All right. I'm a bit confused why this, yeah, now it's flying up, but once I touch them, they don't fly up as fast. But yeah, I'm guessing this should be it. So that's really weird. When we touch it, crash state. Yeah, so that's here. And then increase core crashing is true. Add some sparks. And then here we set velocity to the minus tile size and a crash velocity. And yeah, I'm not too sure. Maybe I should just check for center points rather than dividing by tile size. But still, I don't understand why it doesn't fly up. Oh, that's because the velocity y gets set afterwards. All right, so otherwise set the velocity. And then now it should also fly up when Duke stomps on it from above. It's a bit, looks a bit weird stomping on it from above and then flying up, but I'm pretty sure that is how this thing works. All right, so I think, yeah, that is looking pretty okay. Maybe it's not the most accurate representation of these guys, but I think, I think they look pretty good. I'm liking it. So they flip around, fly a bit, and then start shooting. And yeah, once you touch them, they just die. And they only hurt Duke when Duke hits them from the wrong angle. So let's say, for example, I stomp on it from above. Oh, okay, I still get hurt there. Okay, so let's print out the distance when we stomp on them. And let's see how much distance there is. So that was a distance of 25. So that's, looking good. Okay. Let's restart the level. Let's go back to this guy. And let's wait for him to come. Okay. And then let's stomp. Yeah, still looking good. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. Like I said, might not be the exact behavior, but I think it looks pretty okay. Floats towards Duke, shoots a couple of times, and yeah, we can hit it and crash on it from above, and it's looking pretty good. So let's fix one of the things, like when these guys shoot. Let's make them shoot very often, because I think the origin of these bullets that these guys shoot. Look, the origin is not too good. Here the origin is fine, but the origin going to the right should be offset by tile size. All right, so let's fix that as well. So where do we shoot here? So instead of 0, I guess we should just have a tile size in terms of offset. Okay. And yeah, when these guys shoot, there should be a muzzle flash like Duke has. So let's fix that as well. So let's go to the shot active class here. Shot is in the enemy's package, of course. So here we have the shot. And yeah, let's keep a frame to -1. Let's just do it the same way as we did for the bolts. So yeah, if the frame is exactly -1, then the tile ID should be something. So let's see, int tile ID, else different tile ID. And then let's check the object PNG for the muzzle flash. So here we have the muzzle flash for the enemy shots. So they're just to the right of Duke's muzzle flash. So let's go to the bolt and let's take a look at his muzzle flash, which is 47. So to the right of it is 48. So if we have, so for the very first frame, show the flash, and otherwise just show the regular bullet. So let's run the game, and now we should see a lot of green sparks coming from these guys here. So yeah, so I think this looks a-okay. Let's kill this guy. Boom. Okay. Yeah, so let's set the shot timer back to something a bit more reasonable. Let's say 24. And yeah. All right. So I think, yeah, I think that about wraps it up for these floater bots. It's a lot of code in this update method. So, you know, maybe it would be better to extract a few functions here and there to say like, hey, let's handle movement, let's handle shooting behavior, and let's handle collision behavior. But still, you know, a new enemy, and we have about 130 lines of code to do all of the behavior. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, so I think that about wraps it up for today's episode. And that's also, I think, all there is to level 2. But I think in next episode, what we're going to do is we'll do a playthrough through this level 2, sorry. And we will see if everything works accordingly. And yeah, fix any bugs that might happen. And we'll do some general cleanup. We have a huge to-do list. And yeah, if all is well, then we'll move on to level 3, I guess, the next level. And we'll see what new objects to be implemented over there. So for now, I want to thank you very much for joining me. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments down below. If you like the series, then hopefully you can drop a like and a subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.